Hey guys, this is Sports with Dylan. There have been some interesting moves in the NHL today. Nothing quite as big as yesterday, but some very interesting moves. A great has retired, and a couple of goalies have been traded. I feel like I should just go in alphabetical order. Don't know why. For some reason, both the goalies' names start with V. So I'll just start with a D. Duncan Keith has retired from the NHL. This move surprised me a bit, because a year ago, Duncan Keith was traded for by the Oilers from the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, I thought that was going to be a great trade. I made a video about it, which I will leave a link to in the description so you can watch it and laugh about how bad my takes were back then. And it's true, because it turns out Duncan Keith's level of play has dropped, like, off a cliff. Absolutely not so good anymore. So, he was obviously not his former self. And it kind of felt like he needed to just retire. But, at the same time, he seemed like a good leader. And again, just traded for a year ago. It also wasn't the best move for the Oilers, given that they didn't make the Blackhawks retain any of the salary. So, they had no cap space. But, guess what? Duncan Keith has retired. And I'm sad to see him go. He was a great player on the Chicago Blackhawks for all those years. But at the same time, I'm thrilled with it as an Oilers fan, because now the Oilers have a lot more cap space to do what they need to do. Duncan Keith wasn't in their long-term future, and he wasn't contributing that much. But now they have players that are truly contributing to the team that they can sign and re-sign. Such as a goalie, which they desperately need. But sadly, a couple goalies were taken off the market, which I will talk about in a moment here. But they can still focus on a goalie and some defense, because Duncan Keith was still a player on the active roster. And maybe some offense. Hopefully they can get Evander Kane re-signed. If they do that, then they don't really need to do any more on the offense. This is great for the Oilers, trading Zach Kassian, which I'll miss him as well. And now, Duncan Keith retiring. Because assuming Mike Smith and Oscar Klefbom spend the season on long-term injury reserve, then the Oilers would have $20 million in cap space. That is just great to work with. You can truly sign an elite goalie, which is really what they need to do. That's the only thing they need right now. Once they get that done, then you can focus on other things. But just focus on a goalie. Now on to a couple goalies who were traded today. I just realized that not only do both goalies' names start with V, but also it starts with VI. Which means I have to go even further in here, and it turns out Ville Husso is what I will talk about first. This was an ingenious move by the Blues. So, Ville Husso was a pending unrestricted free agent. So you might be wondering how the Blues exactly pulled this off. What they did is they traded the rights of Ville Husso to the Detroit Red Wings. In return, got a third-round pick. And the Red Wings proceeded to re-sign Ville Husso to a 3-year contract. That is great for all the parties there, but especially the Blues, because they just capitalized on an unrestricted free agent. I don't know how they managed to do that, but great on them. I wouldn't have traded for him. I would have just waited another day for him to go into free agency. But the Red Wings got a goalie, which they need, because Alex Nedeljkovic, hope I pronounced that right, even though I know I didn't, is a fine goalie, but not great. And Thomas Greiss, their backup, is 36 and a pending unrestricted free agent. But now, they got a true number one goaltender in Ville Husso. Again, great move on the Blues. They didn't even need him. They still have Jordan Binnington. And now, they got a third-round pick for a guy they would have lost anyways. So, great. I can't stress how well the Blues did on this trade. And on the Red Wings side, they got a true starting goalie. So, great on them as well. And he was cheap. That's the biggest thing. Because two other goalies in this class are Darcy Kemper and Jack Campbell. Both are going to be demanding a big payday. So they got Ville Husso, the cheap one. So now they can actually spend that money on other players to improve the roster. Because now they have a goalie and a backup goalie. It's great on them. Now the Oilers kind of got screwed on this. Because now they can't sign a cheap goalie. Now they're going to have to go either sign someone even cheaper, like Braden Holtby, but you're going to get less quality of play, or you go and sign one of the expensive guys, Darcy Kemper or Jack Campbell. I think Jack Campbell's the best bet for the Oilers, and for any team looking for a goalie, because it sounds like they're both looking for 5-year contracts. The difference is Darcy Kemper's 32. Jack Campbell's only 30. Playing till 35 as a goalie isn't that bad. But playing till 37 is getting up there. Plus, Darcy Kemper's injury prone, and his play of quality can be iffy. While Jack Campbell is a solid goaltender, he proved that these past couple years. And again, he's only 30. 5-year contract, 35, that's not that bad. You don't have to re-sign him after that. So, for any team looking for a goalie, Jack Campbell is the best bet left. The Maple Leafs are kind of in trouble, given that Jack Campbell is the best bet, which means every single team will be looking to sign Jack Campbell that needs a goalie. So they're going to have a bit of competition, and they haven't signed him yet, and tomorrow the free agency negotiating period starts. That means that every free agent, including Johnny Gaudreau, Philip Forsberg, Nazem Kadri, Evander Kane, and Jack Campbell, and every other free agent that hasn't been signed yet can negotiate with other teams for contracts. You can't officially get signed, but players get signed. So tomorrow, you'll start seeing a lot of free agency videos from Sports with Dylan. But my point is that the Toronto Maple Leafs now really need to sign Jack Campbell. But they're going to have some competition, so good luck. Last up today was another pretty good trade. Vitek Vanecek was traded to the New Jersey Devils. This makes all the sense in the world, because first of all, Capitals need a new goalie, a starter, someone like Jack Campbell, because Ilya Samsonov doesn't seem that good, and Vitek Vanecek was about his level of play. Both are pending restricted free agents. The difference is Samsonov is a couple years younger, so you can hope to develop him. Vanecek is the same way, but if you can get some trade value for one, you don't need 3 goalies in a room. So, it made all the sense in the world when the Devils, who have a star goalie, Mackenzie Blackwood, who is extremely injury prone in their room. So now they have a solid backup for when he is injured. I don't think that they're going to do as well with Vitek Vanecek, but he can keep the ship from absolutely sinking. So that's what they truly need, unlike they've had in past years. The Capitals will now be looking to sign a goaltender that can either compete with Samsonov or just be the starting goaltender. Because if you watched the Capitals goalies last season, they were not so good. Samsonov looked like the future a couple years ago. That's why they moved on from Braden Holtby. But now he's playing kind of iffy. So I think Jack Campbell is a good bet to sign in Washington. But again, like I explained, every single team that needs a goalie will be targeting Jack Campbell, as long as they have the cap space, which the Capitals do, the Oilers do now, and the Maple Leafs even do, if they can squeeze it in, which they've got to. So, it's going to be pretty tough for the Capitals to get him. But, I think Darcy Kemper would be a safe bet to go there as well. Because the Capitals, out of all teams, do have plenty of cap space, which means they can afford Darcy Kemper. And they can probably negotiate that down. Maybe a 3-year contract, a bit cheaper. Or if he just spends a bit of time as a free agent, then the agent will be willing to negotiate. So, I think that would make tons of sense for the Capitals to go and sign Darcy Kemper. When he's injured, Samsonov can play. But when he's not, then you've got a good goalie in net. But again, Jack Campbell is a better bet. And Braden Holtby is not going to be returning. So those are kind of the only 2 bets. As I explained earlier, a couple of teams, especially the Flames, are in big trouble now. Because Johnny Gaudreau can start negotiating with other teams. That is not good, because he is considered the top free agent on the market, and he is also the best Flames player. Matthew Tkachuk is a restricted free agent to make things even more complicated. So, they're going to need to pay both of them if they want to keep up the winning culture. But I don't think they can. They don't have a ton of cap space. They can probably squeeze in, but it's not looking good for them. The Predators still haven't signed Philip Forsberg, despite offering multiple quality deals. I'm surprised that hasn't gone through, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did end up re-signing with the Predators. But we'll see. He doesn't seem super happy with the team itself, and that's sometimes the biggest issue. Johnny Gaudreau might be in the same position. We don't know if he likes Darryl Sutter as a coach. He might not like his style, and there are plenty of players that don't. So he might be going, screw it, I'm going to go to the Flyers. And I realized that was a terrible example, given the coach, John Tortorella, there. So not the Flyers, but maybe screw it, I'm going to go to the Devils. You don't know, but I suspect he might actually be leaving in free agency. I apologize, Flames fans. But for now, that's all the news we're getting today. But tomorrow, there will be plenty of Sports with Dylan videos coming your way. Probably a couple more trades, and definitely plenty of signings. But for now, thanks for watching.